Hey guys, welcome to the channel. If you're interested in getting more PSA 10s on your submissions, then you are in the right place. Today I'm going to go over a whole set of cards that I am pre-grading to send into PSA. I'm going to give you guys just an idea of what I'm looking for, what I think PSA is looking for, just based on past experience I've had and also based on the spec that they advertise online, which is not exactly detailed. So sometimes I think just going off of experience of what you've seen can be almost more helpful. But we're going to dive into it. I'm going to cover each card in as much detail as I can to be helpful to you guys. And then when the submission comes back in a few months, we'll review it. We'll see how we did. Hey guys, so you'll definitely want to stick through to the end of this video. Each of these cards, as I go through and pre-grade them, I'm going to give them a % chance of a certain grade. And then at the end, I will go through my whole spreadsheet and show you the order that I picked to submit these cards and why I submitted them in that order. So stay tuned till the end. You won't want to miss it. Okay guys, I'm going to do my best to juggle all this stuff. It's a little hard to get like the camera over the top well and show you guys what's going on, but this teen is looking pretty minty. It's definitely off center top to bottom, and it's got the little speckles on the back. Pretty dang clean. See, the corners and edges all look really good, so the centering could knock it out, but we're gonna try sending it anyway. So I'm going to say we're going to predict a 10, and I'm going to say this has got like a 70% chance, I think, of a 10. I think the centering is pretty close to on the line there. The next one's Drowsy. This is a very hard card to grade. Found a pretty dang clean copy at my local card store. Centering obviously is a little off, but good enough for sure. Front looks nice and clean. I don't see any crazy print. There are some print lines, but nothing too crazy. Corners are all looking really good. Surface overall is looking really nice. There is a slight, like, just kind of almost indentation right there. You can see. Sometimes I see that on the edges. So I don't know how they'll treat that. Sometimes you can even just put your sleeve on, run your fingernail lightly over the top of it and smooth it out. I know that's probably not what somebody wants to see, but I'm going to give this one, I'm going to say 80% chance of a 10 on this one. I think it's pretty strong. Next up, we have the Shatot. Pretty cool card from Temporal Forces. Found this one at my local card shop. Nice and clean, which is rare for an IR. I love this card actually a lot. Maybe some slight whitening on the edge there, but it's very, 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 very slight. Corners look really sharp, really clean. Surface looks really clean. Temporal Forces overall had pretty nice print run compared to a lot of the rest of Scarlet and Violet. So I'm actually going to give this guy a 90% chance at a 10. I feel pretty good about this one. All right, next up, Steven Skarmory Reverse. I'm not going to bother to pull this one out because I was just looking at this one the other day. Surface is super minty clean. Corners are all minty clean. This corner right here has the slightest white, but it's very hard to see. Very, very small. I'm going to give this one a 90% 10 rate. Actually, I think it's very strong. All right, Jolteon. This is the Cosmos promo from, I think it was the poster collection. It's a Black Star promo. Got a sick swirl there. Look at that beautiful swirl. I tried getting multiple copies of this, the Jolteon, the Flareon, the Vaporeon. Only this Jolteon looked good. Looks really clean to me. I can't see any print lines. Can't see any whitening on the edges or anything. So I'm actually going to give this one a 90% 10 chance as well. All right, now we have this Journey Together Iris's Fighting Spirit. I think I just pulled this one from a pack if I remember correctly. Pretty well centered. Not perfect, but pretty well centered. Very clean back. Very clean. Yeah, I'd say this is a 90% tenor as well. Honestly, probably a lot of the cards in this are going to be pretty dang clean. There are a few that are not for sure. All right, this is a hard card to find in gradable condition. Reverse Hollow Aerodactyl from 151. So the front there is looking nice and well centered. And then there's like the tiniest white specks in that corner and that corner, but I mean, they are tiny, 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 tiny. Very tiny. This is a very clean card. I mean, to be honest, I probably should call this yeah, I'd say 90% on this, honestly. Even with those two white specks, that's usually, they're really, 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 really small like that, where you can hardly even see them when I'm showing you guys on the YouTube video. That's usually fine. You can get away with a couple of those. When the white specks start to get bigger, that's when you get a real big problem. Oh no, I just dropped it. Partway on my stand. Looks like I did not damage the card though, which is good. This one I believe came from the Tech Sticker Collection. It is a Black Star promo, Cosmos Hollow Foil. Very clean. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything wrong with this one. So I'm going to say this one's also a 90% chance out of 10. I'm sure somewhere in here PSA though is going to screw me on some of these. All right, Iron Leaves from Temporal Forces. A little off center there, left to right. It's kind of fairly off center honestly, but a very clean copy. I pulled this one myself. Surface is very clean. I'm going to probably say 70% on this one because of the centering, even though I still think it will be in line, but I have a feeling that in the stack, this could potentially go either way. This is my only one-piece card that I'm submitting. This is the promo from the magazine, and I need to open it now. Oops. No, I wasn't expecting it to be a pain like that. I'll just cut the top off, which is what I should have done to begin with. All right, so I have never graded a one-piece card before, but looking at this, it looks really well centered to me. It looks really clean on the front, and the back looks super clean too. Slightly off center, but nothing crazy. No white specks, nothing. So looks to be a very, very clean copy. So even though I've never graded one piece, I feel like with just enough grading experience in general, I would give this a 90%. All right, next up, Crustle illustration rare from Destin Rivals. I pulled way too many of these darn things, but at least one of them was gradable. Definitely a little off center there, but still well enough. And the back looks really clean. I don't see any white specks. Very clean card. So I would say 90% on this one as well. So far, we've got some pretty strong chances on a lot of these. All right, Pikachu V Union. I was not able to get 4 of these that all fit together that were gradable. This corner one though looks really good. The back looks really clean. The texturing on the back of these Celebrations cards sometimes kind of weird. It's almost like it's drier than normal, like they used a different type of wax or something. But yeah, so this is number 141, and I'm going to say that this has a 90% chance. I was hoping, I opened 2 of these V-Union boxes more recently, hoping to get a bunch of gradable cards. Was hoping that I would get enough to build the whole entire V-Union, but I could not. So next up is the 140 promo. So the top right corner, and this one looks really, really good. Yep. Boring, clean, tiniest white edge there, but that's not really a white speck even. It's more like it was just cut ever so slightly at an angle so you can see the white of the edge, but there's no rip away, no tear away like you usually get when you get a white dot. So very, very sharp copy. I think I had print lines on a lot of these that prevented me from grading them if I remember correctly, but these ones were clean. I can't remember if it was print lines or white specs, but same card, just a different copy. Also very clean, looks really good. There is this weirdness here, like it's hard to even show it. Hey there, you can't really see it very well. It's almost like, it almost looks like something spilled on there, like a wax spill right along there. You see that? So I'll put this one as 70%. Not really sure. I mean, it looks like, if anything, it's a manufacturing defect. Usually PSA is kind of understanding about small stuff like that. Okay, next up, Reshiram EX. Got extremely lucky on whatnot I want to give away. One pack of white flare opened up, boom, pulled this guy. Absolutely amazing. So you can tell right now, top to bottom centering is pretty far off. Honestly, I think this has a very low chance of a 10 because of that. The rest of the card is absolutely minty though. And so because of that, I'm gonna say 50-50 on this one. It looks to me like it's like on the line or slightly over the line. I have a feeling PSA will probably not give it a 10, but I think it's worth the risk. And it is a beautiful card to encapsulate. All right, Kurum, picked this one up at my local card shop. Absolutely beautiful, beautiful card. I actually think this might be one of the best cards in Black Bolt and White Flare, in my personal opinion. And it's being slept on. It's like a $60 card. There's a couple white specks there, but that looks like, yeah, there's one white speck there that can't be wiped off. It's like a print, malfunction, but the rest of the card is so minty that I think they'll allow a small defect like that. It's pretty well centered, very clean, no corner issues, no surface issues, just that little one white speck. So I'm gonna send it. I think this card has I probably think it has a 90, but I'll say 80 here, just to kind of be a little more conservative because of the white speck. Gengar, beautiful card. Pulled this one myself. Probably the coolest fuller, honestly, in all of Scarlet and Violet. Very clean copy. Look at that. Tiniest bit of white that you can see on the edge, which is really just the edge itself. It's not really from like a white speck. I think this is very strong, very well centered too. I'm gonna say 90% on this one. We'll see if I'm right about these or not. See if I missed something. Litten is looking pretty clean here too on the front, well centered. I pulled this one myself. No white specks. I've gotten to the point where unless the white speck is really small, I usually don't send it anymore. Especially now, I feel like PSA might be just a touch harsher. Kind of hard to tell. Yeah, this Litten I think is about a 90% 10 chance. It's a very clean card. All right, Team Rocket's Tyranitar. So this is one of those promos from the Pokemon Center. Centering is not the greatest on this one. I only got 2 of these promos. You had to make a purchase of $25 or more. Fortunately though, the surface on mine, some of them have have something right there. Fortunately, mine does not have that on this copy. This copy is nice and clean. The back is clean. So even though the centering is a little off, I think because everything else is so minty and because the centering still is technically within, I actually feel very strongly about this one. I'm going to give it a 90%. Actually, I'll give it an 80%. All right, we're getting down into a mix of English and Japanese. I don't know why I didn't I'm going to put the Japanese at the end, but Parasect, pulled this one, I think myself, from Dark Phantasma a while back. A bit of a rough cut on the bottom and the top, but gosh, yeah, I'd give that one a 10. I'd say 90% on this one. Honestly, Dark Phantasma to me was a phenomenal set. It's where most of the best, well, not most, but a lot of the best trainer galleries from Lost Origin came from. And at the time I was opening a lot of Japanese and collecting a lot of Japanese. So I opened, I don't know, 2 or 3 boxes of Dark Phantasma, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I pulled this Altaria myself. Absolutely gorgeous card. I really love Paradox Rift, as you guys know. Love this card. So the back is really clean. There's a tiny white speck there. And it's also pretty off-center left to right. So I think this card is probably like, I'd say a 60%. I think it has a little bit more of a chance of getting a 10 than not, but I could definitely see this. I could almost just call this 50-50. In fact, maybe I'll call it 50-50. I'm going to give it 60. I think it has a 60% chance at a 10. I really do. It's a very clean card. It's a little off center, but I've also seen worse off center PSA 10s. Shiftry. Great card. I think I pulled this one myself as well. Yes, I did. Super clean. Japanese quality is fantastic. Now, that being said, when Japan does a lot of reprints, their quality can tend to slip sometimes. So it's not like you're guaranteed to get 10 ready cards when you're opening Japanese, but you will run across a lot more 10 candidates with Japanese, like a lot more. All right, Metagross, love this card too. It's a good one. And also extremely clean. I think I pulled this one as well, if I remember correctly. But yeah, beautiful card. Also would say this has a 90% chance, just like the other Japanese ARs that we've looked at. These are not terribly expensive cards, but you do gain a decent amount from grading them in a PSA 10. Then we got a blast from the past. Pulled this from my old school binder. Freaking awesome. But Nidoqueen non-holo first edition from Jungle. And there's a little white speck here in the corner that's decent sized. See if you can see that. Yep. And a little bit of weirdness like right there. If it was just this white speck and maybe the white right there, I'd say this is for like a for sure 9. It is interesting to see this core, like the wax is kind of dried out a little bit. Kind of fascinating. With that down there, I'm a little less sure. I'm gonna say this has a 50-50 chance. Hey guys, Editor Blake here. I really don't think this card's going to get a 9. Upon looking back at it, I think I was probably being a little bit too optimistic. I'm going to guess that this is probably actually going to get a 7 or an 8. So I'd maybe say a 50% chance at an 8. Probably just because that almost looks like a bit of an indent in the bottom. In fact, if PSA treats it like an actual indent, it'll probably drop all the way to like a 6. But we'll see what happens. It'll be very interesting with these cards that have like deficiencies. There's a lot that you can learn about them, especially with vintage. Thought it was a little stronger chance for a 9 than that, but I also kind of like to send some of these vintage ones because they do drag the average down for my submission. Pincer's looking really clean on the front here, but a little off center there. And the centering on these vintage ones gets you a lot worse, that thick border. Little white kind of all along the edge there, and some light scuffing there. Yeah, light scuffing there. So I'm gonna say this is probably a 7. And actually, I think I might change my Nidoqueen from a 9 to an. I think I'm gonna change the Nidoqueen to an 8. I'm gonna say this Pincer is probably got a 90% chance at a 7. So I guess we'll say it's 7 or higher. How about that? But it's good. I mean, you kind of have to have some of these cards that are more sacrificial, that are you're not intending on getting 10s, just to bring the average down. We got a couple of these Rayquazas. This first one has this really nice swirl. And that's the biggest reason why I'm sending it, because otherwise I would kind of rule this one out. Centering's good, but there is this tiny, tiny little, I can get it to show up. See that just tiniest notch right there? And it shows up on the back. So the back, pretty clean. Maybe the smallest white in this upper right corner, but really, really small. Little white down there too. Yeah. I still think it's got a solid shot. I'm going to say probably 40% chance of a 10. The next one, I think, if I remember, is cleaner than that one. It should be pretty clean. Yeah, front is looking beautiful, minty. Some slight hollow bleed there through that top edge. PSA doesn't usually seem to have a problem with that. There's a white speck here though. Darn. I don't know about that one, guys. That's a pretty big white speck. I'm actually gonna give this one a 40% as well. These promos have popped off quite a bit though. So if one of these hits a 10, it really is worth sending them both. If they end up being my sacrificial cards to prop up the other ones, so be it. You know, sometimes you have to have that. Tropius, I'm pretty sure I pulled this one myself. It's actually a really cool card. There is a little bit of the windowing effect, but not too shabby, honestly. You can see it kind of running through his neck a little bit. That's probably the downside. The back's pretty dang clean though. I mean, this corner, yeah, well, okay, I take that back. There's white down here. I don't know. I'm debating if it's worth sending this one, to be honest with you. I don't know. I think this is probably a 9. I really do. I think this is a 9. If that white speck wasn't so big, this would focus better. Yeah, if that white speck wasn't so big and prominent, this would have a really good chance at a 10. So I'm actually going to set this aside. This may just end up being a filler card if I need another sacrificial card, like if I think I need another 9. But I think this is going to be a 9. I'm about 90% sure of that. All right, this one is definitely a little bit on the line here. So centering wise, pretty dang good. Front's gorgeous, but there is this black speck there. It's like an ink speck, almost like the ink splashed right there. Very small, but it's there. The back of the card is super clean. Take that back. Look at that. Look at that. There's a crimp there. Yeah, I'm not going to send this. I don't think I'm going to send this. So PSA 9 is about $35. So it looks like I'm $3.50 into this card. It looks like 9s are selling. So 9s are selling for about $30 to $40, somewhere in there. All right, the more I look at this, guys, the more I'm like, no, this is not worth it. So not only do we have this thing down here that I didn't really catch before I did, but look at this. If you catch it in the right light, you can actually see there are some print lines right there. See it? See that? Boom. Print lines right there. Right there. They were hard to catch. I had to catch them in just the right light, but they are there. I think there's just enough things going against this card that it does not make sense to send it. Hey guys, Editor Blake here. I did end up deciding to send the Pikachu. I used it as a sacrificial card. I had a lot of cards that were really strong 10 contenders in this submission, so I did want to kind of bring down that average so that, I'm not convinced that PSA will give you all 10s. So I think they need to see some cards that are not going to 10. So I've kind of started to just put in some sacrificial cards to say, here, give me an 8 on this one. I'll take the L on this card in order to prop up the other cards and give them as good of a chance as possible. All right, Friends in Hisui. Pretty, a little off center. Left to right, pretty kind of far off center there. And you got a white speck there in the corner. Yeah, I'm also going to say this is a 9. Oh, and I just found a print line. This card's definitely not worth sending because this is only going to be even decently valuable as a 10. So we're not going to send the Friends in Hisui. And finally, we've got Latias from Crown Zenith. Front is well centered. Back. We got a white speck up there on the corner. Yeah, that white speck I think is just too big, guys. This is probably a better card to send as a sacrificial 9. I'm going to say that this is like, I'm pretty 90% sure this is a 9. It could 10 though, so I may use this as a sacrificial one. All right, guys, so this is what we have. This is the summary of the submission. I just wanted to show you the order I put it in and kind of talk through a little bit of why I might have done that order. So I've got here the predicted grade and then the chance of that grade or higher. And of course the name of the card here. And so you can see with the Reshiram, we thought it only had like maybe a 50% chance of a 10, but obviously hitting that card in a 10 would be a big deal because it is a pretty big SIR. So I thought I'd start it off, put that one first while the grader's eyes are fresh, hopefully give it the best chance possible. And then because I thought Lost Origin Giratina V had an even stronger chance and frankly was more important for me to have 10 than the Reshiram, I kind of put it right after that. So if the grader didn't look favorably on the Reshiram, they would look at the Giratina and see the centering and see, oh, well, the Giratina's centering is better than the Reshiram, so therefore give it a better chance at a 10, if that makes sense. I'm playing psychological games. Then I threw in an early 7 because I just kind of want the grader to see, oh, I'm not going to have to hand out all 10s. I've already got like a 7 or 8 or something like that. They can bring the average down. This is, again, the psychological games I'm going for. Then I put a whole string of 10s, including this Altaria that I thought had kind of a lower chance of a 10, but I would really like it to 10, especially because it's a card that I pulled. And then I did some of these 80%. Drowsy is one of these that I really would like to 10 as well, so I put it up there kind of close to the top. Kiram's a big one to me too. The Team Rocket's Tyranitar as well. And then I threw the 2 Rayquazas in here. I don't think that both will 10. In fact, I think, I have a low chance of either one. I've got 40% on both of them, but I'm hoping that maybe one of the 2 will get a 10. They're definitely not the strongest 10s, that's for sure. Aerodactyl Reverse, I figured, I figure one of these probably won't 10, so then having something like the Aerodactyl right after that I'd really like to get a 10, even though it's got that slight white speck in the corner. Yeah, went in and put that after. And then again, Pikachu kind of earlier in the submission. This is a sacrificial card. I think it will probably 8, could be even worse than that. And so again, I'm going to bring that average down, make them feel like they're not giving me constant 10s. Then I threw in the Gengar, the Litten, and the Chatot. These all have pretty high chances of a 10s now. Steven Skarmory. These all feel really strong 10 contenders, so I just threw them there in the middle. Put another card to drag it down, that first edition Nidoqueen. That's most likely an 8 or lower even. And I have 8 here, but it's probably a 7, honestly. Yeah, in fact, I don't know. I may change it after that, but Jolteon, I had the Jolteon, Leafeon, Crustle, the Pikachu V Unions. Kind of put all those next, a bunch of PSA 10s. These guys were pretty strong. And then I threw in the Pikachu V Unions. I put the lowest chance one ahead of the other one that's 90. They're all pretty strong, but this one had that slight kind of wax stain like thing that you could kind of see on it. So I put that one first and then put the stronger one right after it, which is how I like to order things. If I'm going to send 2 cards or multiple copies, I'll put the weakest one first and the stronger ones later. And then Iris's Fighting Spirit was a strong 10 as well. Iron Leaves, a little bit less of a 10 because of the centering, but decent amount. And I'm kind of getting now where I'm just filling in the submission with what's left, really. Threw the Latias in there. I think it will probably 9, but it has a chance at a 10. So if I'm lucky, maybe by here he'll be, just give me a 10 at that point, but we'll see. It's got that white speck on the corner, probably a 9. Then the Shanks OP1 felt like a really strong card. And then I threw the 3 Japanese at the end. The Japanese are always really sharp, nice cards. So I always put Japanese at the very end of the submission. So hopefully that was helpful for you guys just to see kind of my process of grading, making decisions, and then also how I decided to order the submission. Again, when this submission comes back, I'll be doing a whole video unpacking how I did. The predicted grade and the chance that I gave it, and then what we actually ended up getting. And we'll do a whole analysis there. It'll be really fun to do the comparison. So come back in 2 or 3 months, probably 3 months, and we'll cover it. But thanks so much, guys. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. Let me know in the comment section if this was helpful for you or not. And if you're submitting anything to PSA right now, if you've been getting lucky with your submissions, I would love to hear about it. We'll catch you later.